plenty of pundits, car makers included, declared that electric cars wouldn't work in Australia. Tesla disagreed and indeed proved them all wrong with cars like the Model 3 that, by the end of 2021, is on track to sell an incredible 10,000 units. That's what Volkswagen does with the Golf. Tesla has had the pure electric premium sedan segment to, well, itself. But that changes in January 2022 with the arrival of this, the Polestar 2. Let's check it out. Now, if you're not quite familiar with what Polestar is, well, we don't blame you because it's had quite a storied past. It began life as sort of Volvo's race team, then it became a tuner for Volvo's, and then it became Volvo's in-house performance division. Then, when a Swedish car maker saw the writing was on the wall for petrol and diesels, it became a standalone EV brand. And that explains why there is a lot of Volvo in this design. And we're not complaining because it blends an SUV with a fastback. We think it's a hit in the style department. Ahead of its launch down under, Carsales has been given an exclusive early drive of the entry-level single-motor Polestar 2. Since it's too early, I'm afraid we haven't got exact pricing for the Polestar 2, but when it does arrive in January, expect it to closely match the Tesla Model 3. For that, you get a version with a 64 kilowatt-hour battery that provides for a range of up to 420 kilometers. But today, we're driving this. We're driving the long-range version that gets a bigger 78 kilowatt power pack to provide up to 515 kilometers between top-ups. From launch, there will also be a more powerful all-wheel drive dual motor version that will get a muscular 300 kilowatts and 660 newton meters of torque, enough for a blistering 0 to 100 kilometers per hour sprint of just 4.7 seconds. But that's not what we're driving today. The front-wheel drive Polestar 2 come in two power outputs, 165 kilowatts and 330 newton meters of torque with a smaller 64 kilowatt hour battery, and a larger 78 kilowatt hour battery that gets an extra 5 kilowatts. We've already mentioned the high-waisted stylish Polestar 2's looks, but do you know what? It's practical too, and that's because it is a hatch and not a sedan. So at the back there's a 405 litre boot, and up front there's a 35 litre shallow frunk or fruit, whatever you want to call it. Then there's the achingly cool cabin that offers a fit and finish that comprehensively spanks the Tesla. Of course there's a vegan leather made out of recycled plastic bottles and a carpet woven with discarded fishing nets. There's also an Android-based infotainment system that's fast, reactive, clear and easy to use. And look, there's even a proper digital instrument panel ahead of the driver, rather than a distracting display in the Tesla that requires you to crane your neck left just to check the speedo. But it's not perfect in here. First off, why on earth is there a transmission tunnel right here? Why does it need a transmission? It hasn't got a transmission. Well, that's because this Polestar 2 is based on Volvo's CMA platform, which underpins both petrol and diesel cars that do have a transmission. That said, Polestar has used the space beneath here to safely package the battery pack, so it does have a purpose. Weighing in at around 2.2 tonnes, the Polestar 2 is 300 kilograms heavier than the Model 3. That means it doesn't feel as agile or chuckable or even fast as the last Tesla we drove. But there's plenty of grip and the steering is precise if a little bit dull. And on roads like this, it covers ground surprisingly quickly. That said, you have to remember that this car still takes 7.4 seconds to hit the 100 kilometers per hour benchmark, and the standard Tesla Model 3 takes 5.5 seconds. It's almost 2 seconds quicker. That's a huge difference. Then there's the similarly priced all-wheel drive long-range Tesla Model 3 that takes, wait for it, 4.4 seconds. It would not see where a Model 3 went on a road like this. The brakes are a bit dull too when it comes to feedback, but it does offer variable regen and one-pedal driving if you want it, plus other driving modes. Then there's charging. Now with this Polestar 2 we're driving with a 78 kilowatt hour battery, if you find a super fast 150 kilowatt charger, it's going to take you around 35 minutes to top up from 10% to 80%, which isn't too bad. If you can't find one of those and are lumbered with a 50 kilowatt charger, that charging time increases to over an hour. Now, if you haven't got any of those and have to resort to charging it with your 11 kilowatt home charger, it's going to be 8 long hours. But there is, of course, an elephant in the room, and that is Tesla's incredible supercharger network that currently is not available to other car makers. That might change in the future, according to Elon Musk, who's tweeted something out, but at the moment you can't use them. Which means that at the moment, if you're going to have an electric car, it's probably easier to live with a Tesla Model 3 than with one of these, because basically it's easier to find a charger. But you know what? I can still see Australians being seduced by the Polestar 2's very charms, and you shouldn't underestimate the appeal of its SUV looks. It's hard not to argue that Tesla deserves its #1 spot in Australia. After all, the US brand, well, it invested heavily and took the risk in Australia, and it's finally paying off. But that said, the Polestar 2 brings lots to the table and remains utterly desirable with or without the supercharging network.